trying to do is, because it's this entire social enterprise about this wayside restaurant where you basically barter, you don't pay for the food that you eat, you instead teach the kids of the village instead, and that's how he brings literacy to his village. I think what he was trying to do is he was trying to put a proposal out there that this is a utopian idea, but if implemented it can impact change. He likes to use this word impact film, which is what he's been doing even in the documentaries that he's been making off late. He's just been putting money into his own work and sort of trying to make films that, and he is an idealist at heart. I know that he is, this sort of a dreamer, an idealist. I don't think he's very, very unrealistic at times, but in a good way, So I think I think his intent is that the film was supposed to be a proposal. Do you want to take on the rest? Anything you want to add?
Well, I don't. It's such a big question, but I think with any film, so many different people are going to take away so many different things. There's the main plot, there's subsidiary plots, and so I think that you said it so well that your father just wanted to inspire something positive and something that brings hope. I think that any good film, in my opinion, and for the work I like to do, if someone can leave feeling more hopeful, I think that's what we all need. No matter where we're coming from, we could all use things that inspire hope. And so to see a creative idea, I think one of the things that really opens up is creativity and innovation, to be able to think outside the box, to find creative solutions for people in need. I think one of the themes that I really love is seeing it for the third time, and just is that the value of equality of life, and people coming into their own and realizing what they have to value, even though that they've been kind of looked upon as being lesser than in comparison to the other villages around them. So that was another theme that I think was really important to speak to. So I think there's a lot of different things that hopefully people will take away that leaves them encouraged and speaks to them in their own life in a certain way, and then also just opening people's minds to different experiences across the world. I think that me, I had never been to a small village in India. I'm sure none of my friends have been to this day. So it's one of those things where you get to see other types of life, experiences that are out there, and open your eyes to what other people might be going through, and what their lives are like, and how we can all find ways in moments when we're presented with them, out of the blue, to help, to use our life experiences to be able to contribute in some way. And so hopefully we all get those opportunities throughout life, and hopefully we're all well equipped and have enough wisdom to be able to realize when they're happening to us and take advantage of them and contribute in our own way. So I think those are just a few of the things that this film speaks to, and I think you and Kireet did such an incredible job doing that.
Mostly did. I was just interning on the project. I think I picked up a lot of the ropes of filmmaking working on this. I think that I made some short films before this, and I didn't know what action and cut was. I was staying start and stop the entire time. So I think I learned that was the main takeaway from this. How do you say action and cut, and how do you shoot piece by piece, shot by shot, piece everything together and then edit? So it was like a masterclass for me. Any other questions? Yes, Kanishka.
Hi, I really enjoyed the film, and before I ask my question, which is for Ali, great performance, by the way. I really liked it. I want to know, because you've been a part of the film from the inside, I wanted to know what were your challenges while you were on it, because it's also a film that shows an international or a foreigner in a grave situation and then going through all of that process. So I wanted to know, did you feel any of that while you were filming, and what were your challenges overall with it?
Yeah, what was the first part of your question again?
Just the challenges. I said you were great. That was the first part.
Okay. I want to hear that one more time. The challenges, well, there's cultural sensitivity. I think we all know that in the time that we're in, one of the biggest challenges. This was shot in 2016, and now there's even more so. A lot of things have been coming to light, and we're all becoming hopefully a little bit more culturally sensitive. So I think one of the challenges was, one of my close friends is Indian, and I called her because, I wanted to make sure that the character came off culturally sensitive. So I'd say that was one of the challenges, is making sure that I'm being responsible with a role like that. Hopefully that came off okay, but you know, we're always learning and growing for sure. So that was one challenge. And then the other challenge, I feel like everyone made it so easy for me, to be honest. Like, it wasn't that challenging. It was, you know, the team was amazing. I'd say the other challenge, though, is staying in a place. Well, you know, we got to see the village. We obviously stayed in a place with electricity, but we did get to see the village. I'd never seen a village without running water and all of these things, and I thought it was incredible to see that. I don't know if you'd ever seen that either, yourself, maybe? Okay. Well, a couple of the gals that came with me, my makeup artist and stuff, she was from Delhi, and she's like, I'd never seen a small village like this. And even people in India hadn't seen that. So, you know, there was challenging things, but to be fair, you know, the team was like an awesome family, and we had a great time. But those are just a couple of the things that stuck out off the top of my head.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Yes.
What scene meant the most to both of you?
Oh, that's a beautiful question.
I think for me, I was just watching it again for the 101st time. I've seen it so many times over. And I think that the scenes of the montages, especially the two montages where the teachers come in and teach, and then that montage at Agra where they go to see the Taj Mahal, and you know, that cute moment where she's telling them to, you know, scooch in a little closer and, you know, get that little moment and the kids are laughing. I think those two moments for me stand out, and I think they're the most poetic, the most magical moments in the film. That's my personal.
Yeah, that was the one that was coming to my mind too, as well as when we go to the Taj Mahal, because it's interesting, like, you know, I don't know, I can't speak for everyone's experiences, but we're pretty, in this country, privileged to get to see some cool things, you know, like we grow up and we have these experiences, or if you're even in public schools, you're taken to field trips and things like that. And it really opened my mind, seeing it through that lens of like, oh, their minds are being opened in that moment to something so much larger. Like, it speaks to larger life possibilities and what's possible in their own lives, and how much we kind of take that for granted, but also like how just beautiful it is, because no matter what you've seen, when you go to the Taj Mahal, it is incredibly impressive and it's beautiful. So I thought, I agree, that's probably one of the ones that stands out to me. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. You raise your hand, right, Kanishka?
Yeah, oh, it was
Yeah.
yeah. No, I wanted to know from you, because you were the first, you were the AD on it, not the first AD. But you saw the whole process.
Yeah.
And of course you live with your dad, so you must have seen it from its inception.
Yes.
So I wanted to know, was it difficult because it looks like it's a project which is done on a really low budget and a smaller team probably.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how did you get that team together? Because it seems like the film is done really well, and did you have difficulties convincing people to work on it, or do you think that the team itself made people, you know, come together?
Yeah, so this was actually an interesting question, because I remember I used to go for script meetings to Abis Rizvi's house, who invested in the film. Now, this was his second project. He made a film before this called Roar, which is a tiger film, you know, in the Sundarbans, and they go and they, you know. So this was a complete different genre sort of shift for him. And prima facie, I think, I remember Abis was very kicked about the idea. He thought that this idea was very novel and very powerful, and he felt that it could impact change, or at least get people thinking, and that was what the intent of the film was. Now, I think that of course the budget and everything, I think the film that he'd done before, he was being extra cautious with this, because he splurged a lot of money there, and he wanted to do something really independent, but something that is meaningful, and do it in a way that it looks well crafted. Whatever said and done, the film had to be well crafted, and that was what the brief was. Now, moving into sort of pre-production, my dad was very clear. He wanted to cast not just good actors, but also interesting faces. So he wanted to cast local faces, people who from the village itself. Those kids from the village itself may not know how to act, but at least they could be workshopped a little bit, and we could get them to speed with the basics of acting, and cast people who looked real and looked like they're part of that space, not just, you know, outsiders flown in from Mumbai. So I think that was, I think, one of the main challenges that he encountered. And other than that, I think there were a lot of production upheavals. I think that I remember on this one day of shoot, there was this these guys, these goons who came in from the nearing village, and because there was a star on set, Raveena Tandon, one of the shoot days, they wanted to catch a glimpse, and so they came in and they said, you let us in. We had cordoned off the area. They said, you let us in or we're going to break stuff. So they basically came in, and there was a lot of stuff happening there, and for some time the shoot was stalled. And other than that, like small, regular production hiccups that you would face. The only other kind of hiccup that was very, very sort of strenuous on all of us was the fact that we were shooting in scorching heat for 50-55 days continuously, like every single day. And I think that was very tiring. And we had, like, of course, a low budget, so we had to, whatever shots that we planned for that day had to be taken that day and couldn't spill over to the next. And we were shooting a lot more shots in a day than we could actually possibly do. So I think there were a lot of those kind of time constraints, budget constraints. I think it was mainly that. And then, of course, when Abis passed away in the terrorist attack, which was very unfortunate, I think that after that, the challenge was that, because he was signing the checks, was that how do you see the film till the end? How do you see it through till the end? How do you complete the film now with no money at all? So Dad pumped in a little bit of his own money. The composer came in pro bono. A lot of people came in gratis, and they said, okay, we love the subject, we love the film, we'll help you complete it. When you get an investor, which we have now, by the way, that's when we will revisit the film, and there are some elements that we will fix, and there are certain elements that you can also pay as the rest of the dues. So that was the sort of the agreement.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
My question is to her. I believe you went through the script of the film before you went